If you have a personal computer, you'll always type in Power BI download. It is free of charge. Actually, Power BI Desktop is free, entirely free. The license, you need it when you start the publishing. So when you go to the Microsoft page dedicated for Power BI, you'll always scroll down. We have mobile, but this time we're looking at desktop. You'll always come at this point, advanced download options. Then you'll download the file. It is around 500 MBs. So it is always by default English. You'll go ahead and set download. Then you'll select the right option. The right option is always Power BI 64-bit. But if you don't know the bit of the laptop you're using or computer, go for the second one. It will automatically select that. So the moment you click on this and you say next, it will start downloading. And after downloading, this is the file you'll have. You'll have a PBX file like this. I don't know whether you're seeing the file. So you'll have this file like this. So go ahead, open it, install. It is always next, 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 and you'll be able to finalize the installation. So when the installation is done, then you receive this. Sorry, I'm trying to install, but I already have it, so I will cancel this. Okay, I know that is okay now. We are good to go. So the moment you install this, it will already be on your desktop. Go on your desktop or wherever it is, search for Power BI. This is it. So you'll go ahead and open this. So I'll open this and we see how it opens. So this is the way how it opens. Every time it opens, it will always open with this startup page. The startup page, I explained last time that it has many things to start off from as a beginner. It has some videos you can start off with. Go ahead and watch them. Take time, watch, and understand what you do or what you need to do. It has the BI blog where most of the updates are announced and the forums. Then here, if you want to download datasets or sample datasets for use, you can download if you don't have data to use. But I know the team here, all of you, at least you have data on your PC that you can use. Then you'll go ahead and preview this. So this, you can deactivate it if you feel like you don't always need it to pop up, like you're ready akafulu somewhere. So you can always untick this before you cancel it. So the moment you untick this before you cancel it, it will never come again. But if you always want it for a start off, leave it. You can always cancel it as secondary. So now this is the first page you'll ever have when you open Power BI. So I can explain maybe the few things. The first thing is you'll have a lower pane that will always help you to add more pages. We are going to see how you can add more pages. Then it has a left pane that has those views I've already shown you. The report view, which is always by default selected, is where we shall have our report. Then there is this. When you load your files, you'll see all your data here. Even you can come to this and you get data directly from here. Then there is this where we have the model view. You see they are giving you a structure that this is what you'll do from this page. So those are the three views we have. That's done. The panes we have. Now the tabs we have the home tab with all it has. Most of the things we saw them in Power Query. We have the insert. We shall see. Your tabs may not look like this. It means that either the Power BI, the version you have is either not updated for this month. Every month Power BI updates. So it is good. You should always go there and update. So how do you look at the version you have updated to? Just come to help. Any system you'll ever interface, even if it is SAP, it has a help tab. So if you get confused, even Excel has help tab. You can always go to help. You'll find there links to their websites, contacts, and some of them have even customer care contacts. You can call directly and they support you. So when you come here and go to about, it will always tell you the version you're using. So I'm using the version that is updated up to June. So that is it. So there is a version that is coming out next week, that is July. I'm already updated that. The moment it drops, I will update my Power BI. Why? It comes in with many functionalities which I have been waiting for, and you feel like now they have dropped them. But if you feel the June is still okay, don't rush to update. Okay. And some of you, maybe you may have IT, they are the ones who update your Power BIs. If you feel like you don't need an update for maybe the new things that have come on board, you don't need to bother the IT guys. So now we have the home tab where we are going to find getting that data. If you're getting the data from Excel, that's a workbook. I will not talk about the One Lake Data Hub. Maybe that's the advanced bit of it. The SQL, all these are data sources. Then we have now this visualization pane has been brought nearer. Before it was here under insert. You see it is even under insert. But this time it has been brought nearer under home because this is always default. So when you go under insert, you'll always find it there. So these are the visuals, the many visuals you can always want to use in your reports. We are going to see how we can leverage on them when we start off. Then we have modeling. When you start doing modeling, you can create a report and you say that this report is going to be viewed by maybe a level of 3 people, managers, supervisors, and associates. And I want managers to see different things, associates to see different things. That is done under security, which we call role level security. But that is also an advanced bit, but know that it is there. So there is view, the way how you want to see everything you'll have put here. We are going to see how we can put many panes at the right. By clicking on them here, they will appear at the right if you want to view them. If you have created a report and you want your users to view it on layout on mobile, you can create a mobile layout. Then after creating a mobile layout, then you also save it such that your people can always use either mobile or they use desktop. So that is it. So you can create grid lines, like how we know in Excel where we have grid lines, which we may not need now. You can put snap to grid. Snap to grid is when you're moving like a graph and you see at some point it moves itself and snaps itself onto a grid. So that's when you will need snap to grid. But other things we shall learn as we go on. Our major tabs now is home and insert. Now, we are going to pick data. Last time we used some data here, and it is the same data we are going to use. Just to this data towards the Novi Traders. It was a company that does shipping of containers, and here it involves categories. Actually, we did the same in Power Query, so we are going to use the same data in Power BI. So customers, employees, order details, orders, products, and shippers. So we are going to import all these files into Power BI. We are going to start one by one. So I will do this, get data. If they always give you 4 options to start off with. You have the import Excel, SQL, blank, and maybe if you want to get data sets. So the option this is also here. So Power BI gives you many options. It is also here. So instead of you looking for get data here and the same more, which will give you the same, you can always even tap it from here. So the moment I tap it from here, remember these files of ours were CSV files. How do you know? By right-clicking on them and getting the properties. It will always tell you that it is a CSV file. CSV means comma-separated values. We should have explained it in Excel. So that's what we are going to pick. So we're going to look for CSV file, which is this. They are not Excel workbooks. Not everything you see in Excel is Excel. Excel has many format of files. So this is a CSV. You'll see that if I pick it using Excel workbook, I may not see those files in that folder. So that's why I'm going for this. So I'll click on that and connect. We did the same thing last time in Power Query. So I'll look for my folder, which is this. This is the folder, Northwind Traders, and inside this is it. So you see there was a file. There was a PBIX file, the Power BI file. It is not visible here because I've selected CSV. That's why you can't see the other one. So I will go ahead and pick one by one, and I will be quick because we have ever done this. So I'll start with categories, open. We have done this, and I think some of you can be generating questions as I'm posting all this. So when you are posting CSV, this is it. I go ahead and transform. That one we said if you want to change some things, but this time we are just loading directly. So the moment you start loading directly, Power BI will show you that it is applying changes. First, leave it to apply the changes, don't discard. And the moment it has applied changes, you'll see the first file is here under data. Even if you go under data view, this is the first file we have loaded. And this is the preview of it. So let's go back and load others. So the moment you load one file, you see this canvas changes. The last time it was showing us that we have nothing, so it was giving us option of files formats to load. But this time we already have a file, it changes. Now it is ready to receive, to start making reports for yourself. Which means if I open here, there are only three fields. Which means if I click on this, it will just open something and give me a number. You can go ahead and change to those charts, but it doesn't pick any sense because we don't have enough data we need. So I will delete this and make sure that I load everything. So I'll go to next and CSV. Here we go. So customer, I'm going to use like 3 to 2 minutes. Anyone with any question, please ask that question as we load these files.
Can you load different types of Excel?
Yes. Actually, not even different type of Excels. You can load different type of files from different sources. Which means if I want here, I can go and pick an Excel workbook. I can go and pick SQL Server. SQL Server is like, if I click like on SQL Server, maybe I'm connecting to a Hodim database. There you put like the 10.100, I've forgotten those things, 81.98, and here you put the database, which is Hodim, because I remember that, Hodim database. Maybe the other one has Hodim NBS. Then you go ahead and import. It will connect you. It will ask you to log in. You'll find that you have connected these files with you're using even another file from Hodim. That's in case if they give you access to the database. So you can connect as many files as you can. Power BI has over 120 datasets. Last time I checked. All these are datasets. Companies have gone ahead even to buy spaces. Those are the cloud spaces you hear companies buying. Like I'm a company, I'm having data, producing data. I have people using my app, but I want those people to create their own reports. So which means I will go and buy a cloud space. Let's say HIMA will buy a cloud space and you'll find HIMA Cement, which means every vendor, every transporter, if they want to create their own reports, they go to that data source, they will find there their own data. In other words, it will give you login and all that. You'll find that Bamiko can see only their own data. Then they can create their own reports and see how their vans, their trucks are loading, how they are doing business, in other words. So that's what is being done in the world this time. So there are many data sets that are there, so you can pick from wherever you have access to. So for us, we have access to actually CSV. We shall go with that. So I'll go with the third.
Just a quick one. Do we need to first clean the data before we import it?
You clean data if that data is, if the data is, we previewed this data and we found everything is fine. That's why I'm going ahead loading. But if you find you need to clean your data, Let's say if I come to CSV here, I'm picking the third. This is the order details. And if I find maybe I have to remove some columns, I have to align some headings, we did that in Power Query. Here you come on transform. The moment you go on transform data, then it will give you the Power Query edit. The same how it is in Power Query. Go ahead and do all the dynamics, all the magics we did with Power Query. You remember those things. I don't know whether you have done some practice. If you have not, the videos are there. So do all what you can. Then after that, you come and apply and load, close and apply. So when you do close and apply, you'll have done like the other person who did direct. So in case you need to clean some of the reports, because I know not all the reports you'll meet, they will be clean. So they will be clean. So if you download a report from a system and you know that it will always bring blank cells, blank columns, blank rows, please first put it for cleaning. So let me finish this as more questions come in. Before we start modeling, I'll go ahead and load all this. As more questions come in, guys, you have to ask as many questions as you can.
Sabit, why do you load one at a time? Can't we select all of them and take them at once?
No, you can't. You can't select all of them because every file is a data set on its own. Last time in Power Query, we were loading a folder. Why do you load a folder and why do you load one by one? You load a folder when all the files in that folder are same format. Like they are all HODIM delivery reports. You don't have transfers there. That's when you load a folder. Actually, it is here, it is there. When you come here, then you say folder. But the moment I say folder, it means that in that folder, the more than 1, 2, 3 files that are there are the same format. I'm just going to combine them. But if you're loading files that are not the same, you load every file on its own. Thank you, Nathan, for asking that question. So get that difference, guys. There is a difference why they put a folder here and the different parts of how you can load a file on its own. So even if they are PDF files, but they are all the same format, go for a folder. But if you know that they are not the same, go for PDF one by one. So that's it. So I'll go ahead.
Assuming yes, they are Excel files, but in different folders, same format.
Same format.
Do I need to put them in one folder first?
Now, there are two scenarios. If all the files you have authority to them and you're creating a report, always why we do the ETL, you remember the ETL, extract, transform, and load. Extraction is a part of where do you get your files from. If all the files you have authority to them, you have the different folders there on your PC, and you're creating a report for a certain category of people, or you're going to automate a report for your team, put all the files in one folder. Such that there is no scenario when someone will ever delete a certain folder somewhere and your full report will break. A report you have created for months and months, it will break because someone has renamed a folder from June 2023 to July 2023. It will automatically break because your report can no longer see June. So it is always good to bring everything in one folder, work with it. But in case the files are not yours, pick one file by one. You'll not pick folder because it is not in one folder. Go pick that file, come pick this file, then I will show you. In Power Query, there is where we merge queries. So you have brought all these files, they are the same format, but from different folders. Then there is an option of merging them when they have reached here. Then you create one file for all of them combined. So even though the other sources of people, they will be updating, your data will be already automated this side. So this file you remember, yeah.
Supposing you do it, what happens?
Like, yeah, no, it is
like
fine.
For example, For example, the folders are different. I mean, the folders are different, but the data there is the same. And me have selected all of them and loaded them at once. What happened?
No, you can't load more than one folder. That's not there. It is always one folder. It is always one folder. You can't load more than one folder. I think we have not done it before. And I saw in our community guide for Power BI, someone was asking, but the answers were it can't happen because every link has to link to a data set. There has to be one direction of a URL. You can imagine if you enter www.nathan.com and the website opened Facebook aside, it opened Twitter aside, it can't happen. So there has always to be one direction. So that's why you can't load more than one folder, but you can load more than one file from different folders. In other words, you can pick different files from different folders, but you can't call for all the folders to come at once. I don't know whether I've answered it, but that should be the question you asked. Now, this file of sheep, as I remember, we had tried to do some changes. We see how it comes. You see it has nulls and the ones and twos. Last time we were doing some things. Then this one you transform because you can't load it like this. It is not clean. So you come and transform. Last time we said that on transform, we don't need these other empty files. We don't need these empty rows. So what we did is you select this and this. These two actually want to remain with the two. You can press a control down, then you select both. Right click and remove other columns. That's one. Then we want to remove these two blank rows. We said you go to remove rows, and it will give you remove bottom rows because we are moving from the bottom. Then it will ask you how many rows do you want to remove. I will just say I want to remove 2 rows. That is one of the options. Another option is just a matter of coming here and filtering out null. There you go. There are many options you can use. So the moment you have done this, you go ahead and close and apply. So close and apply, it will close the editor and apply the changes. When you say apply, let me double click. If you want to go back to an editor, you just double click on one of them. No, you don't double click. That is in Power Query. So in Excel, when you want to, you go to edit query. You click on these 3 dots, always at the end of the data, you go to edit query. And if your file has been updated the other side, maybe your team has told you, we have put the data for today. Just come here, but it will always refresh. But if you want it to do a hard refresh, you always come here and refresh data. It will pick the changes. So here we want to go back to the edit query. This is how you do it. So there are 3 options here. There is apply, close and apply. So if you do any changes and you say apply, it will not close the editor. Maybe you're still doing other things. Then if you do any changes and you don't want them to act, you just close without applying them. But if you do changes and you need them and you want to close the editor, close and apply. It will close and apply the editor. Now, these are the 7 files we have loaded. The next thing we are going to is modeling. Last time I showed you that Power Query, that's why it is called a business intelligence tool. When you go to the models, you'll find that it has tried to model for you. But in Power Query, we saw how we can model one by one. So when we go to the model, I will zoom this in. Okay, we can shrink this. Then when you check, you'll see all my tables have been loaded, but they're in horizontal. Now, this is the scenario. You see the customer table. It is showing us column 1, column 2, column 3, which means it needed some cleaning. So go back to your data, click on the customers table. You see, it was having column 1, column 2, yet this heading, it was supposed to be on top. So the moment you are here in data, you can use the 2 options. I've told you another option is click here, edit query. Then if you are this side, still you can go back on home tab. There is always a transform data. Here it is. So when you click on transform data, it still opens the Power Query editor. So the moment it opens the Power Query editor, it may not open with the file you were in. So you just come on the queries and look for your customer file. Why am I coming back here is because I checked the customer table, the headers were not headings. Power BI had given us an, I can call them default labeling of headers where it always calls column 1, column 2, column 3, blah, blah, going forward. So someone unmute and tell me, how do we make this one a heading? That is something I know people have played with. It is an interaction, it's an interactive session, guys. Someone unmute and tell me, how do I bring this heading to become headers here? Since now it is not looked at as a heading.
You click on use first row as headers.
Yeah, you click, you come here. It is always in home. Then you look for it. It is here. Use first row as headers. This first row, this is my heading. So I want to use it as headers. Now, in case you have blank rows and this is not the first, remove those rows that you delete the rows that are on top of your headers. Because the moment you say use first headers, it will take what is first. So then the other option, you can find it in transform. When you go to transform, it is somewhere. No, it is in Power Query. Here it's here in home. So I'll click here, use first row as headers. Automatically they will be promoted and it will always give you the steps. We saw these steps. It will always give you the steps that headers have been promoted. And so here we shall go ahead. This is the only change we wanted to do. You'll go ahead and close and apply. Sorry for that. I was having an SMS coming through. Okay, you see now my headers have become the real headers the way I needed them. So when I go back to my model, yeah, you see this is the way I needed my customer table. So they will always give you a default of a table in brief. If it has many rows, you can always come here. There is always expand and collapsing. But since these are very few, you see all of them are expanded. So when you want to collapse them, let's say you have many tables, you can always collapse them. Or if you don't want to look at the details, just always make sure that you get off what you don't need on your table, off the table, such that you give attention to other things. So I will first bring all these tables nearby here. Then we start crunching on how we can model this. I'm going to delete all these models that I've created automatically because we want to have this from first principles. I can first zoom this in, make sure that even this one is here. Here. I'm going to disorganize this. Now, I want to remove all these, all the relationships. Then we're going to put the relationships ourselves. So I'll expand again such that we all have visibility. Okay, here we go. Now, I will delete the relationships. Right click, delete, right click, delete. Right click, delete. Sorry guys, there is some background noise. I worked from home today. What do you want? Sorry for that. So I'm deleting all the relationships, then we can do them together. So in Power Query, this one never occurs. Power Query never gives you models automatically, relationships automatically. This is only done by Power BI, it being that it is a business intelligence tool. Now, last time when we were talking about data modeling, I talked about two things. I talked about fact tables and dimension tables. Can someone unmute and tell me the difference between the two? Just a simplest difference someone can always remember between a fact table and a dimension table.
Okay, I just guessing English. Fact is actual, those that you know you are very certain about. Then the others are there are some assumed values.
Okay, good try. Actually,
Obienyo.
it is a good try. Only that
Brian, you've joined the 3D world. Fact meaning it has constant values and then the others are variable.
You see?
that one is a polished now. The other one was not yet polished. That one is polished. But for the people on this call, we have two types of tables when we come to models. We have fact tables and dimension tables. A fact table is a table you can even update now. But a dimensional table is a table that you may even spend years minus updating. None of you has ever come out and said, you know what, the material ABC or multipurpose fundi this, change that M and make it a capital M. Because when they were creating it, all that was taken into consideration. Maybe they never needed to change, which means when you go to the database in SAP, material table, that table is like a dimension table. Because when they are creating, they just add, they don't edit. But when we come to a table like relating to the data we are dealing with, who can tell me what is a fact table? So a fact table is a table that you update on daily basis. You have your team having a business and they have to update a report on what they have done in that day. But a dimension table is the price, like a price list. A price list can be a dimension, though it changes at some point, but it can be a dimension, but because you can take a full month without changing prices.
So the one for the product is a dimension table.
Okay, that is one. Okay, let's start. What is categories? Okay, someone pick for me a fact table. I know the dimension tables are many, but we need to pick out the fact tables, or one or two. Then.
So the order details.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a bit same on my side, the order details.
Exactly. So then even another trick you can always tell, but it is not a trick 100% you can use. Any table that will always have dates. So like now when you check in our models here, it is only one table that has a calendar data type. This. Which means its data has been changing day in, day out. You get? I'm not saying that trick is 100% because you may have another table that has customers, and it has a date when a customer joined. Though we don't edit that customer, but it has that date, so it may not be a factual 100%. So the orders table is called a fact table. The remaining tables, I can name them I can name them dimensional tables. But in case you find another data, it may be different. So they are dimension tables because they give us the dimension to what we are going to do. So for them, when you're doing this, there are things like you'll hear of schemas. There is a star schema. Star schema is how you arrange your relationship. I know those people who will go ahead and do more of reading on modeling. You will find all that. But for now, when you arrange them like this, it means that what I want to put in the middle is going to be the fact table, such that everything is going to link to that table. Even these ones are said can link to each other, but the most thing is these ones are going to link to the fact table. If I took
How
this,
about if you have more than one type of data with dates changing?
yes, if you have more than one, this is how we do it. You put the other ones on one level, like on the top or on the bottom, but we always put the dimension on top, because we have finished the space on top, but below you will always have space going down, which means every time you get fact tables, you can add at the bottom. So which means that you arrange them in this way, like this, and like this. Even this one, you can arrange them that way, such as this one is at the bottom. Now, when we start arranging, you do that arrangement, like they all link to this table. Why do we do that? We don't want relationships crisscrossing each other. That's when someone looks at your dimension. Let me open. We are going to be doing references at some point. So we don't want crisscrossing of relationships, such that even the next day, if you're working on a shift and you're all data analysts, the other person who comes should easily understand the relationships. So now here we are going to start creating relationships. Now, how do we create relationships? Just a moment. How do we create relationships? Then another thing, this is what we should note. The dimension tables will always have primary keys. Like this customer table has a customer ID. That's a primary key, which means you'll never find a customer ID the same in that table. You'll never find duplicates. Like you can't come in the company and find two people having the same staff ID number. Then that is a ghost. So this primary ID in another table, it will always be a foreign key. So here in order table, it is also in orders table, but in this table they call it a foreign key because it is coming from another table. Now, this is another trick to tell which is a fact table and dimension table. Any table that has more than one ID coming from another table, then that table is a fact table. Just period. So even this product at some point is a fact table. Actually, let's bring it down because it is linking to another table. So these are the two tables. I can say this is the 100% fact table. This is also a fact table. In ideal that it always changes at some point. So like take it that this is like a material table or a price list. A price table that can change maybe every week. So where you'll find that you have material IDs in that table because you have customer IDs for those customers that will have bonus free issues on some items. So sorry guys.
It's okay. Now you've known what fact tables are.
They just confused me.
Okay.
What I knew changed
I
from.
think in simpler terms is fact table, the data that you want to analyze, and the dimensions is how you want the data to be analyzed.
Sabiti wekiba kyekyo n'omwana abimanyi.
Fact tables, it is everything you want to analyze, that's where it is seated. But the dimension tables are going to give you links on how you can easily connect those tables, this fact table. In other words, we have a customer ID here, but there is another table that can bring that ID with other details of that customer. So in HODIM, you may have a material ID. Yes, we have a material code there when you download that report. But if you link that code to another table that is called material table, you'll find there even the tests that the Philemon and Nakalanzi's team did on the strength and all that bit, which you don't need in the HODIM report, but it is there. So that's exactly what Susan was talking about. There are many ways how you can explain this. It is all how you get it and how you do reviews to understand it more. Now let's start linking this up. Customer ID and customer ID, you'll drag this and drop it on top of that. So when you're doing, mostly when we are doing fact and dimension, the relationship is always one to many. So when you look at this relationship, here there is a 1, here there is a star, meaning many. And the arrow will always come from 1 to many. Don't think because I dragged the other one to this, that's why the arrow is doing like that. Let's drag again. Let's drag now this on top of the other one. You see the arrow remains showing downwards, meaning that the many details are this side. So that's the relationship. When you double click this, it will open a dialog box that will show you the details that you have connected this dimension table, this customer ID with this customer ID in customer table, in orders table. And they are telling you that the cardinality, that is the relationship, it is many to 1. So it is single, but I will not go into those details, but that's it. So we come now to employee ID. We have employee ID here, we have employee ID here. So we shall pick this and drag it. Even if you drag it anywhere, just a moment. Even if you drag and drop it like on required date, for it, it will pick out that, you know what, I've detected where my colleague is. No, I think, no, this works for another. Let's use the basics. So employee ID, drop it on employee ID. It will pick that. The moment you have dragged and it has picked a wrong one, when you double click here, like last time I had dragged this employee ID and I dropped it on order details here. It may pick the relationship, but this relationship is wrong. When you reach analyzing, it will give you errors. So when I double click on this and it opens this dialog, I can see that this order date is linking to this, which is wrong. So I'll say it should link to this. And the moment you click on that and do OK, this will change. The moment you click it on it again or hover on it, it will show you that employee ID, employee ID. Then let's go ahead and do the rest. This is product ID, linking with product ID here. Then we have shipper ID, linking with shipper ID this side. Now this crisscrossing is what I never wanted, which means that's why now you needed a star schema at some point. So which means I can first interchange these like this to make sure that I'm neat. Now this category ID here, like this, like that. Then we are remaining with another ID, order ID there. Here we go. Now, when you look at this, it is already a ring of relationships. So when we bring this to the format we wanted to create, this, and this one down here. So you see that it is just simply done, but all. Wait a minute. This is order ID. Okay, this is order details. I was worried of the one to many. So the order ID here, the order details are many this side. So that's why it is one to many. But otherwise,
Chris, a question.
Yeah.
So in simple terms, we can never create a relationship between dimension and dimension or fact to fact. It's always dimension to fact or fact to dimension.
No, actually, there is now this. Yes, the question you have asked, it is two-way.
Yes.
Creating, you can never create a relationship between dimension to dimension, but you can create between fact to fact. You get? Because
Yes.
these order details, looks to be a fact table. Why? Because it has an ID coming from another table. But it is not 100% that it is a fact table. It can lie on the side of dimension, it can lie on the side of fact tables. But when it gets two relationships here, that it has two IDs, then on this data we are dealing with, it is a fact table. Because which means they can update the order details here. They can update the orders here. They can update the products, but you can't update the category. A template was already done in the factory. This is the category that comes out. The shippers, it is a company that does the shipping for you. Changing, it will have to say in those deed polls and all the bit. So we have employees here. An employee changing an ID, that employee has left the company, or he has changed from one agency to another. So an employee ID will remain that. Then the customer ID will remain a customer ID. It will never change. The details this side, they can change. You can add on more customers, but you can never, it is hard for you to change the customer. It takes time. Let's take it like that. I may not say that you can't change anything in the dimension table. You can change, but it is not something that you can do on regular. So I think this is it. We already have our schema. Now, why do we do this? What's the purpose of us doing this? It means that when I start analyzing my orders, I can analyze my orders and pick the customer names and create a graph with customer names. Yet in the orders, I didn't have customer names. That's what it means. I can analyze my data and pick a category name this side. I pick an employee name, which was not part of my data. So that's how it is. So we shall go back this side and see how we can start playing with our report. Any question, guys? There is a report I wanted to show you here. I wanted to show you the relationship. You see this? Actually, you can get more complex relationship more than this. Now you see this report has like how many tables? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 14 tables. But here now, we find out that there were many fact tables, that is one. And dimension tables were few, I think, like a driver's table and a vehicles table, because they can never change. Then the other tables, it is a daily consumption. So that's how it is. You see the crisscrosses are there, but they are minimized in the way how they are arranged. So the way how you arrange them, you try either to minimize or you go completely away from. If I wanted not to have any crisscross, I would be scrolling a lot to go to the left, right to pick data from the tables. But when you want it concentrated, you minimize the crisscrossing, or you have the crisscrossing that is like, that has a format that you feel someone can follow up, rather than this leaving that side, this crossing to the other side, this one passing behind this table. So when you check, you see the table in the middle, nothing is passing behind it. Anything going to the middle ends to it. Anything leaving the middle goes outside. So that's how a model is. You can meet many models outside there. So we shall go back to our report. Now, last time, the first thing we said when you're starting to do an analysis, you always have a problem. You don't start creating a report when there is no problem. We analyze data, we create reports to solve problems. So if there was no problem of people knowing what has been dispatched in a day, people wouldn't be sending reports of daily dispatch. If there was no problem of global knowing what is running in logistics department, costing, savings, and all that, you name it, then we wouldn't be creating reports for the reports we create every end of month. So because there is always that problem, people can't analyze easily, then there will be a problem. Like, we want to know who is the highest transporter in terms of volumes, in terms of savings, in terms of costing. Then those are the problems. Then you come now to look for the solutions. So I remember when we were looking at this data, we read through the problems. It was like categorizing products which were shipped higher. Then there was, we shall look at them as of now. Everything we have now is a problem. So we are going to look at the customer. We are going to rank the customers. We shall rank the employees. We shall look at the orders. We shall rank the products. We shall see which product moves faster than the other. We shall look at the trends of ordering on daily. A lot, but you'll always have simple problems or hard problems coming through your table. If you are an analyst or you're someone who deals in reporting, who has anything to do with reporting. So now this is it. Today I'm not going to talk about measures. Those are the calculations you create. Because not every field that is given to you is sustaining itself. You may have quantity and price, they have not given you amount. Do we go back to the Power Query edit and add another column? I told you the problem with that. You increase your storage capacity of the file you're working with. That's where we come in with calculated columns. We saw them in Power Pivot. Then we also come in with measures. So there is something we shall talk much about. This is the measure. So when you're creating a measure, it is like you're creating a calculation. You're creating a field that is not in existence. Like you want amount, you're creating a field for amount by getting quantity times price. Very simple. So that one will be a session tomorrow. Come prepared for a bit of that. Today, let's look at the basics, how you create scorecards, charts. Then tomorrow we can come and refine. And as questions come through. So we have already gone exactly an hour, I think, because we started at 7:10. Is there any question I can receive from the audience? What we have done, you have done the extraction, you have done the transformation, you have done the loading. You have cleaned your data. Your data set is now here ready waiting. You have your model here ready waiting. Everything is ready for you to start off laying your report. Laying your report is creativity, guys. You may know all the dynamics, all the calculations, all the math, all the basics. But the moment you don't have the creativity on how you have to have your graphs, how you have to choose your colors, but it is always from practice. You'll create a report, someone will tell you, no, you have used many colors. Next time you'll know that when I'm creating a report, I have to use 3 colors plus black and white, those are 5 colors. When you create a report, someone says you have left a lot of white space. Then next time you'll know that I have to adjust my graphs like this. There are a lot of things we can always talk about in the theory of data analysis, only that we have always come for practicals. So any question before I kick off with another part of this session?
Sabit is over here. I think it will just add more inquiries to Laban's quest is that maybe if you could demonstrate how you would model that is a facts table to a fact table, since what we have just concluded right now is handling many-to-one relationships. That is the dynamic and fact table in play.
Okay. Now, modeling a fact table to a fact table, it is more to impossible, I can say. You may have a scenario where you may need it, but when you reach in a position where you have more of the relationship fact to fact, means that you have not done either cleaning on your side, then there is some other bit where you have to break down your data to make sure that you have some part of dimension. Now imagine that you're linking, what you're asking is a question like, I want to, actually linking HODIM file to SAP file to Logon file, those three systems may not be the same question. The question you're saying is linking a HODIM report, let's say transfers and deliveries. Let me bring it that way. Actually, that's how it is. Linking transfers and deliveries. You may find there is a relationship that there is a tracker that did transfers and there is a tracker that did deliveries. But that relationship is not going to help me anywhere. Even if I create a model, there is no way I will say a tracker that did deliveries. How many deliveries did you do in, sorry, a tracker that did transfers, how many deliveries did you do in this file? Like you see, it is more to impossible to have such. But dimension to fact tables or reports that have columns, one is an ID to the other. Like an SAP report, you'll have a column of a HODIM order number, but you don't have the HODIM details in SAP. Then you link that column of HODIM order number to the HODIM file. I think you get it. Now, in the Logon report, you have a Logon order number. Then when you come to the HODIM report, you have a Zonda field, a Zonda column. You'll get to that Zonda column, you connect it to the other Logon report. Then in HODIM, you have SAP column. You connect it to SAP. All your three reports will be connected to each other. It means when I select a bus in HODIM and I pick a quantity from SAP, it will give me the quantity of a bus in SAP. That is the connection I'm talking about. That is different from what you have asked. What you're asking is fact tables. It is a transfers report. It is an inbound report. You are linking the two. You may get a relationship of dates. You may get a relationship of vehicles. You may get a relationship of users who weighed those tracks. But all that is not taking me anywhere in the analysis I'm doing. I don't know whether this question and the explanation I've given, everyone picks it in that module. So when you're thinking about that, think about the data I'm having. Is the relationship between this data helpful to me? I have two reports, a transfers report and an inbound report. Yes, we know there are some trucks that bring kaolin and take cement. But is that the relationship I need? Or the relationship I needed is if kaolin is also in materials, then that relationship works. Is also in deliveries. So fact to fact tables, the relationship is more to impossible, but you can always have it, but it may not give fact, it may not give traction to the reporting you're doing. Any other question, guys? I don't know whether I've answered you, but I should, and I've explained it, I think, enough for even the others to take it in. So we are going to go ahead and start off. Now, this is the canvas you have. Before you place anything, this canvas will always tell you what to do. Build visuals with your data. Select or drag fields from the data pane, which is this, onto the report canvas. So even if I don't know the chart I want to start with, if I go to orders and pick quantity and drop it here, it will create a visual. It will create a visual, which is a scorecard. And it is giving me the sum of quantities, 51K. Either tons or kilograms, I don't know. But when you come to the updated Power BI, it will give you that this visual can work in two types of charts. You can use a table, you can go with a scorecard. but this is not helping us. So I'll cancel this. I'll delete this. So always it is better to know the chart you're going to work with, then you pick the data. Now, first of all, we have some data modeling we have to do in orders details, not modeling, but mining. Remember last time we got amount. We got amount by multiplying the unit price times the quantity, we subtracted the discount. And it is the same thing we are going to do. So there is an option of creating a column, which I feel like it can always be an option, but we are going to use it today, then tomorrow I'll show you how we create measures. So you can create a column, but remember this one adds on the storage you have. So we are going to create this column. So when you click on the new column will create. And when it creates, when you say new column, the new column creates here, but even gives a formula. It is like a formula kind of on top because it's going to be calculated. So which means the column name, I want it to be the amount. Then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to multiply this. So if I start with the unit, this is order details, that is the table we are in, the unit price. So when I click on that, then times, still we're on order table, I will be typing like order, then it will bring all the fields that are in that table. Then I will look for quantity, which is this. I click on that. Then I'm subtracting, right? I'm subtracting, still I type the table's name. It will bring all the fields. Then I select I'm subtracting discount. The moment I do that, you come and do a tick here. And boom, it is going to give us the values up to the bottom. I don't know whether we are all together on creating this formula. It is just a simple formula like how other formulas are. The only thing is the way how you bring it up in Power BI is different. You always have to point to a table because you may be selecting something from another table. That's why we did the modeling. You know here that you can even multiply a factor that is from another table. Let's say from the orders table or from the employees table. If there is any employee that is given a discount, you can go and bring that discount from there. So in Power BI, this is not called a formula. It is called a DAX. DAX is data analytics expression. I repeat it, DAX is data analytics expression. In Power BI or in an advanced data analysis, we don't call them formulas or functions because this is now beyond a formula. We are going to find others where you'll find that it is beyond a formula. It is called a data analytics expression. And when even you hover on this new column, you'll see they are telling you that write a DAX expression that creates a new column in the selected table and calculates values for each row. That's what we have done. So is there anyone who has not understood how we have come up with another column that is the amount column? Just multiplying unit price times this, you get that. This times this, you get that. This times this. But remember, we are subtracting discount, which means wherever there is a discount, that amount is subtracting itself because anyway, that was a discount to the customer. So I said I will go slow but quick. Now this is the slow I'm in. Is there anyone who has not understood how we have created a DAX formula? I'm ready to delete it.
Would you do that formula again?
The bit I'm here, I didn't get the whole picture, so I'm requesting.
Yes.
I knew the real suspects.
Yes.
The usual ones.
Now, when you want to delete a field, like now I want to delete this column. By the way, when you hear me talking about field, it is a column. Field and column is the same thing. Row and entry is the same thing. So I will come here on these dots, then I delete the model. Delete this from the model. So you can delete it directly from the table. That is one. I can go to the model itself. Where is the order? You see here where it is. So I can right click here and still delete it from the model. If I delete it from here, still in the table, it will disappear. So, and they always ask you, never say that I deleted by mistake, because I told you undo is rare this side. So are you sure you want to delete? Yes. And they'll go ahead and delete. So when we come back to the table, it's gone. It's gone. Now we are repeating afresh, guys. We want to create a column for amount. We all know when you sell something on a price and you have given out a given number of quantities, you're giving out a discount. How is the other person going to compute? You'll always get that calculator in the shop that is having a string on it. You put 16.8 times 20 minus the discount I've given to this person. Maybe he has bargained. I will get this amount, and that's what I'm going with. This time we want to create an expression that is going to work for all the 1,000. You see the entries are 2,155. When I scroll here, you'll see them. You see them at the side here. So it is not like in Excel that you'll put one formula in one column and drag downwards. No. That's why now this side we have that expression bit of it. So how do we create it? Just go on the table. By the way, you can even create it directly here on the model. You can create it on the model, but creating it on the model, you should be somehow conversant with what you're doing, because it is here. You can say new column, and they will bring for me the expression without looking at the table. Go ahead and pick what I'm picking. It will add here without looking at the table. I'll cancel this. Let's work from the other side. That's our place to be for now. So I'll come here, new column. Yes, they'll bring the column, and they're asking me to put in the DAX. The moment I want to click somewhere outside this, they will take back their column because I've not done anything. So when you create a new column, you're ready to type in the formula. I can call it formula now, but it is the DAX. So the name you want to give the column, you're not going to type it here in the column. Here, you'll put it as it is on the other side of the DAX, on the other side of the equal signs. Then you start order equals to, amount equals to. How do we pick fields in Power BI? We don't go ahead by selecting cells like how you do in Excel. This time you start typing by typing the name of the table. So you can even go ahead and type customers table like this. And it will, no. Oh, that is in measures. Let's go with the order because we are creating it inside the orders. This is a calculated column, not a measure. We shall see that in measures tomorrow. So here you start with order because it is the order table we are in. It will bring all the details. This time, the first thing I want is the quantity. It has gone there. Multiply is always after. Then again, order. Then you can even use the scroll buttons if you don't want to use a mouse. Use the down and up buttons. When you reach what you want, tab. It will automatically go there. Then minus, order. Then we are subtracting discount, tab. Then when I enter, it is as if I've said tick this side. So you see that you can do this without even a mouse. It is all about knowing what table you're picking from and which field you're computing. Now, all the format we need on this column, we can do it from here. You see now like this 1,296, we want a comma there. So you can come and say here, put a comma. And it will put a comma when it is still selected. It is giving two decimal places. I don't need them. I'll go back to 0 like that. You can go ahead and do all you're doing here, all the semantics. If it is in dollars, you put it in dollars and it will put the dollars. So you can go ahead and categorize everything from here. Then if you want to change the name again, you can change it from here. From here, type in again another name. Then when you're done, everything, when you do any change, you either enter or you tick this. Since I've not done any change, I can just go ahead and cancel, but the formatting remains. So that's it, guys. We have created our first DAX in Power BI by creating an extension column of amount. Okay, that's done. Let's go and start now creating some reports. Last time I said we can always pick a background, a color, what, all that bit we did here. And I did close it. Yeah. So remember, we haven't saved this file, by the way. That's why it is still untitled Power BI. But with Power BI, the good thing with it, when this one is cancelled or power goes off, the moment you open again Power BI, it will ask you to recover the files you lost before Power BI closed unexpectedly. So I'll go ahead and save this by doing save as. I'll pick browse this device and I'll save here still in this file. I'll say PBI session like this. And when someone says, send me the PBIX, this is it. This file we are saving is called a PBIX. It is called a Power BI file, PBIX. So you may hear those jargons. Then when you save it as a template, which means you're saving it, people to reuse it for their ongoing future reports. But here we are saving this as that. Okay. Now, there we go. Now we are going to create a background. Last time I said you can pick a picture. You can go on net, and since we know that this was, I'm just doing the principles the way we are supposed to do them as a data analyst. Picking up a plain color is always good, but at some point you have to be creative. You have to be catchy, such that when people look at your report, they have to stop and look for another second. That's all what we always need when you create something. So come here and you can even put that name of the file since it was from the net. But here I will say shipping cargo, then images. Or you can say background images. I'm just trying to look for something that can suit my report. Now, here they will bring you zillions of images. So I have to pick out an image that is not going to attract a lot of attention, that people will be looking at the image and they forget my data, but something that will give a narrative of what I'm reporting on. When someone sees a ship with containers, that person knows that this report is about this. When someone sees a hotel in the background, he knows this report is about hotel management. So I'll go with something like this. I can take this. But you can always choose. It is always your choice. I'll right click on this and save the image. Will automatically save it in my downloads. Then go ahead in Power BI. I'm looking for a background I can put here. So now when you right click on anywhere on that space, you always have format canvas. Then the other past version, you would have the format here on the side. So format canvas, then it will bring the format here. So when the format comes, because I've already said format my canvas, they have taken me directly to the canvas background. But some people, sometimes you'll begin with the page layout. You can change always the page. You can always go to wallpaper. But this time I want the canvas background. So here it is color white. If you want colors, you can put color blue and reduce the transparency like this, it will be blue. But I don't want colors. Last time we did color. So this time we are going with an image. So even if you leave that color, the moment you put the image, it will override. So I'm going to put the image. I'll look for my image in downloads, and this is my image. And boom, that's my image. Let's first do white again. So this is my image. It is looking like this because the transparency is 67. When you bring the transparency to 0, the image is more visible. Now, you see this image is just constrained in the middle. Or it may be very large and you only see a sheep here and you don't see the other blue. But I needed that blue color, the sea blue color. So I'll come here, image fit, and I say fit. It will fit the whole of the canvas. Then the receive and fill, they are always somehow the same, but they are not the same when you're using a small image. Then you can increase on the transparency. Take it, you have to increase on the transparency to make sure that people don't focus on the shape, how big it is. They should focus on your data. So at least now I have this. Now let's go ahead and create our heading. I'll go ahead and pick now, I'll insert a text box. We start with a text box. Here we go. It comes with a white color. I will not need it. Now here I will say, this data is Northwind Traders. I'll make sure that I take this name. Some of the things I'll copy paste because of the time we are remaining with. So when I copy paste this, you can go ahead, select it, bold it, center it, then make sure that you put this to around 54. Then putting it to 54, I can stretch. 54 is so much, can bring it back to 30 that. So this is it, but I don't want this white color background with the header. So you can stretch this such that it is in the middle, then go ahead and remove the background. How do I remove the background of this header? If you want, you can leave it there such that it creates that narrative that this is always a heading by giving it a faint color. So coming to this, you go to properties, visual, size and style, you look for where background is. So the moment you remove background, you toggle off, it will go off like that. If it is on and I want to just adjust, you can come and adjust from here. Actually, even I can leave the whitish but make it somehow transparent, such that I can see something behind. You see, it is somehow transparent. So clicking again here, I'm supposed to get this again. So now there is also another scenario we shall reach. I don't know whether we shall do it in this program, but there is another bit where you can put a function, conditional function. Like whenever we get negative profits, this background should be red, such that when someone comes on your report, he sees red, he knows that these guys made negative profits. All those things are there in reports, they are done. So you can go ahead and give it a border. This is the visual border. You see now there is a border, but most of the things are enacted because you may not need them. So if you want, you can make the border round by just increasing to that. You'll see now the border becomes round. If I can bring this into the middle such that you see the roundness. So you see that roundness. So you can do all that bit from here, but I don't need the roundness. I'll need this stretch up to the end. I will need the background null, then visual, the border null, then I'll want to change this color to a color that is white. Can change this to white and increase to around 36. So this is it, or it is too faint. So, but it is all about showing you showing you the basics, so you can always go ahead and do all the dynamics on your end. We can go with that. So our header is done. Let's start with something else. So when I go on home, these are my visuals. What do I want now? When I look at my data here, you'll have the problems. Maybe tomorrow we can come and set up something beautiful than this, but today let's look at we shall need maybe scorecards. So there are two scorecards. This time we have two scorecards, or we call them here scorecards. So we have this one, which was the previous one where you create one by one. And now there is a new one they have given us. You see it is written on card new. The moment you click on this, and you can enter as many parameters as you can. So you just come here on data, or you drag this and put here. That is the first one, data. I can pick another one, which I can bring the number of products we have, which means I can pick the product ID. It comes. I'm picking the ID such that it is unique ID. Then I can go and pick the number of shippers we have. I pick an ID. Then I can go and pick the number of employees we have. I pick an ID. I can go and pick the number of customers we have. I take the ID. Why am I taking IDs? Because they are unique. I go and pick the categories we have. I pick ID. Now the category has given me the first name. So now we can go ahead and start formatting this. Actually, today we are going to end with only the scorecard because I want to take it for the next 20 minutes. Let's start doing this together. Now, at the moment when you see this, yes, it is having the context, but it is not designed that it will entice someone to keep looking at. Let's start off. The first thing. Now, the good thing with this, the new card that was updated, that when you can do changes and they affect all of them. So which means when I come here when you click on it, it gives you the format. So the moment I say more options, it will always, let me first shrink this. It will always give me these options here, which means I don't need to look at the size and position. Background is having weight. So if I say this, you see the background of the full card goes off. Then that is looking at the full card. Now, if you want to look at the layout, let me start with layout. So this is horizontal. This time we have an option of having this to vertical like this. So the moment you do vertical, which means you can put it in a vertical format like this with ease than how it was before where you have to move one by one. The moment you do again horizontal, you can take it back to the horizontal like this, and this is horizontal. That depends on how you want your report to be. If you want grid, that's when you want to choose like 2 columns. Actually, with grid, you have to choose how many rows you want, how many columns you want. I can reduce the columns to 4 to 3. Then I have this in grid. You see, that's grid. So I think we shall go with horizontal. That is our target. That's one. Let's reduce the font. This is too big for us. So we shall come on layout. No. And now on call out. On the call out, that is what is inside. First of all, we reduce the font from 45 to around 30. You see that it has reduced. All of them are reducing at once. That's why I said that this update they did was perfect. So if you reduce this to 25 again, it reduces everything at once. Now here we go. Now what is the next thing? Everything I'm doing now, I want to first do things that are affecting all of them. Then I will start doing individual. Now the next thing, how do you do individual is removing all and selecting one by one, which means when you select anything you do will affect only the other one. Now, we go to something else. Sorry. I want to put all these in the middle. I've put them in the middle. You can increase the transparency like that, but I want it 0. If you have headers that are long, you can wrap them. There are some things like I may not explain. If you fill it and they give you blank, what should they give you? You can put dash dash, or you can put the word blank or not available. We have done that. Decimals, we want auto. Anything without a decimal, it should not pick a decimal. What you saw the other time in the table. Then now we can go to labels. Now I'm done with call out for now. You can even change the color here from black to blue, if blue is going to be my color to go with. Then you can also go ahead and bold if you want to bold those numbers. That's it on call out, on values. Then let's go on labels. Now, when I switch off labels, you see the labels are those ones on top. So now they are on, that is it. So I can give labels also their font. I can give them their font. I can bold them if I want. You can put them in italic. All that formatting is all about what you want. Then there is choosing above or below. There is choosing above or below here. So you can say below, then you put them below. You can want to put them above. It's all about you. So that is all about the labels. Then what is remaining? The spacing. The spacing, we have spacing of 8 from this number to this. So if you want to reduce it, you see the number is coming nearer to the word. So you see, you can never meet them. There will always be at least a space even if you reach 0. But the space is always there with a purpose for things that will come out like numbers, huge numbers. Can always leave it at 5 or leave it at default. So that is call out. Call out is done. You know now what is in call out. Now let's go to cards. Now cards, these are the cards you're seeing. Every card, we have 1, 2, 3, 6 cards. Now let's start with filling. Let's give it a slight color, or we can go ahead and put some transparency, or you can give it a color that is somehow faint blue, but it is going to dissolve in the background. But there is no reason why you should change from white sometimes, because I told you white and black are neutral colors. Then you're given to add at least 3 colors when you're doing any design. So I can leave it in white. Then what else on filling? Nothing. If you want to fill their images, you can go and pick the images like this. You put the image there. You see the image is filling all over. So you can say fit. You see the image is fitting, but all this we don't need. We don't need the image. So I will go away with the image. Now let's leave filling. We go to borders. Borders, I always like to use a border of the header that is blue. increase its pixels. That's the width. I think that is it. What else can we do there? Nothing. They can leave borders there. If you want shadow, you can go ahead and put a shadow. But when you put a shadow, sometimes when you're using this, it will shrink the cards. So you may not always go for the shadow. If you want shadow, you can use the other one of 1, 1. If you want a glow, you can go ahead. Even a glow reduces, because remember there is that space that is taken by a glow. Then now image, this is my best. So we are going to insert images on each. Now, let me show you, even if we don't finish because of time. So there is a report like this. Actually, this is now the card we are fighting to come up with. You see, like, when you look like at this camera spot, violation, it has its own image, diverted, eye closed, drive on phone. Like you pick an icon of phone, even if someone doesn't read the word drive on phone, he knows this violation is about phone. This violation is about yawning. That's what we are going to do. Actually, our target is having something like this. Okay. On our bit now. Better we forgot to shrink this number on sum of amount. So we shall go back on call out. Go back on call out, then select sum of amount, come on values, then here on display units, change the display units. You can put them to thousands with a K. You see, if it is still big, put it to millions with an M. And I think now it is suitable there. It's okay. Go back. Okay, we're on cards. Yeah? Now, cards, I want to put those images in each card. But before that, there is something we have forgotten. I needed these borders to be round. Needed these borders to be round. Okay, it is on shapes. We shall find it on shapes. Let's first leave that. Now, I want every image on. Now, where do you get images? Let me just do it for the purpose of the recording such that you can never get it from there. There is a website called Vector Icons and Stickers. It is called flaticon.com. It gives you a million and zillion of icons. Whatever you type here, even if I type the word amount and enter, they will bring me icons related to amount. So if they are like these icons, I will say download this, then a green button, download. You have to make this lady happy always by copying the link here, such that you are not limited on how many downloads you have to make a day. So when I say copied, I go back, and that's a trick you can use when you're using free things. You have to abide by the law. So what else? I need product ID, shipping. So those icons, you can go ahead and pick those icons. So I can come here and pick ship. The moment I click on ship, I know they are going to bring us an animal and a sheep. Okay, here it is. Actually, they knew we needed this. So you can pick one sheep that is suitable for your report. I will take this. I will download, make that animal happy, go back. So you can download the icons depending on what you're targeting. Customer, there is employee. So you can put here employee, you see what icon they are going to give you. So you see employee, obviously there will be someone with a tie, even if Brian doesn't put on a tie. So we can take this employee. We download that. Then have we taken customer? So I'm doing this just on a basic that you can pick out how you can pick icons that speak to your data. So we can take this customer because they are giving me customer care pictures. Customer care. I don't have customer buying. You can take this. I'm picking random. Anyway, that's enough. Let's go ahead and you see, they have started asking me to verify, meaning I've reached the climax. But we shall take the images I'm already having. So this, if you pay premium, then you can always access thousands and thousands. So let's start with amount. So you'll always go up here on apply settings to series, select amount, then you scroll down to images, go and select the amount icon. Okay. It will come and close everything off. Then I'll come and say, put it on the right. Wait a minute. Yeah. Here we shall fit it. Then we put it on the left. I always need them on the right, on the left, like this. So I know we are losing out some wordings. We are losing out some wordings. You reduce the padding here such that it is okay. Now, quickly, let's go to another. It is all about you picking the concept. I'm going to product ID. I pick the image, go look for anything related to product, take a rocket, do the same thing, make sure that it is fit. This is rocket, then here you fit it, then you put it on the right, on the left, and reduce the padding such that your naming can appear. Then you can reduce the size of the image in case, let me feel fitting. So we shall rename some of the labels. Oh, this is supposed to be fit. Okay, now let's go on another one quickly. Now, if you want to select all of them, it means when you are on all, the image you put will be on all of them. But here we wanted one by one. On shipper, I will select this, select my ship, okay, and make sure that it fits. And I make sure that it is on the left, like that. So you see, because we reduced the spacing between the labels and the values themselves, that's why some of them are hiding on the right. So we go to the other one. So you can complete. I know because of time, you can complete, go ahead and put the others. So when you look at this, at least now it is looking somehow fancy. So if I brought like a filter, and in this filter, I put there like, what should we choose? We can choose a date. Can come on orders. No. On orders. And choose a date, order date. Then I come and choose a month. So this is it. I've put a filter just to show you how our data will be evolving. So which means when I select January, you'll see our data changing. February. Now, you see the other data is not changing because the other ones were facts. Sorry, were dimensions. We have been using 3 ships, maybe for all that month. So there is nothing that changes. But in case we have here like profits, you have here like a number of orders that came through, this would be changing dynamically with date. So in case I changed this back from date and I made it maybe a shipper company, and I have those 3 shippers, which means now when I select federal shipping, it will change most of the things, speedy, unit package, only that you see only the fact is changing because I used most of them, they were dimension. But you can go and change all these parameters. How do you change? By clicking on it, you'll have this option of add data, then you can always change. Sorry, you can always change from here. Now, when you double click here, any header, you can customize these headings. This is to amount. Then these were products. That's where you change those labels from, such that they are short. This was shippers. Then these were employees. So I'll remove. I'll remove these employees like this. Then these were customers. Then here we have categories. So you see what we have done. we have tried to change now. It is looking more smart than it was before, which means now you can go ahead. You see we had reduced the spacing to capture the other words. That's why you see the ship is near this than it being at the left extreme. So you can do that adjustment by going back to the format and you adjust the card accordingly on padding. And I know most of the things others we shall do tomorrow. Then let's complete with putting the assert bar. So when I check toggle on the assert bar, you see there is a bar that is appearing on the left. The moment I increase the width, you see that bar appearing, that one. That is called the assert bar. So you can change the color to blue, it all changes to blue. But remember I told you a trick, if you have to change one by one, you start from here. Amount, you say amount I want it, pink, orange. You go and say products, I will need it to be, you can come and choose other colors here, green. Then you go ahead and choose others. I will end with the shippers. I'll need this to be red. Nothing can end without a red. So you see where we have reached, you see that at least now our report has started gaining some attraction. Even if someone was looking, he takes that, we call for that attention because the way how we have designed it and the way how the numbers are split and arranged. So going ahead, looking at the shape, you come and check on rounded rectangle. Just a one click, it will change everything to rounded. You can adjust the corners from here. You can do more round, which is becoming fatal. Can just go with that. Here we go. You can still have a customized one. We have customized one where you can create rounds on other corners. You see like this corner on the right, then the corner on the left, like this, and like this, and the other one remains straight.